Hello YouTubers, Romoki Jr. here, and in today's video we are going to touch on quite a controversial topic, if I can say so myself. So the fact that developers of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds announced that they are probably going to be bringing in cross-platform play for the game. That means that PC players will be able to play against Xbox players. Now there is a whole debacle of the aim assist problem, the gun balance problem, well, because when you make a game for PC and Xbox, or console for that matter, you have to balance the recoil accordingly, because recoil is a lot harder to actually control on consoles, so you have to adjust the recoil accordingly. Now, this is a huge topic. I'm just going to give a small little piece of my opinion why I don't think this is a good idea for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and I mainly want this video to start a discussion about this whole cross-platform play idea that the developers have for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, rather than everybody fighting in the comments down below saying that there is no difference, or bitching and like disliking the video or stuff like that. I mean, by all means, if you don't enjoy the video, you can dislike it, but I don't want this to become like a war zone between console players and PC players. I just want everybody to have a humane discussion and actually talk about what's in play here for cross-platform play, the advantages and the disadvantages. So first of all, the advantages of having cross-platform play is you get a lot more players being able to play at the same time on the same servers. So basically the game is maybe twice as much populated, because you have the players from PC and Xbox all being able to play on the same server. So that's great because you have a bigger thriving community. This would be a good thing for like let's say Battlefield 1, because the PC community is a little bit smaller than on consoles. But that's a whole other subject. So that would be great to have a lot more players. But right now, as we stand, does PlayerUnknown's Battleground really need a bigger player base on PC and Xbox? Would they have to merge those together just to have for people to be able to find a match? I highly doubt so, because last time I checked on Steam, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds had 165,000 players playing right now and had a peak today of 284,000 players. So that's a hell of a lot of people playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds only 3-4 months after the release of early access. Now some people are waiting to buy the game after it exits early access and becomes a full game. So a lot of people are waiting for that, but a lot of people are buying the game because their friends tell them that it's really good. So there's more and more people buying the game daily. Like I said in yesterday's video, they have now sold 4 million copies of the early access version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which will then become the full version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. So that's a hell of a lot of people playing. So do we really need cross-platform play to have a thriving community and be able to find matches? I highly doubt it, because it is a very, very good game, and I think it's going to prosper a lot with the developers putting so much work into it. Now, the disadvantage of cross-platform play. Now, there are a couple here. So there is the whole debacle of mouse and keyboard versus controller. So, of course, it's a lot easier to use a mouse and keyboard because of the general mechanics of how a mouse and keyboards work. So you have your mouse that can do a lot more fluid movements, and you have your mouse and keyboard with a lot more keys available to map than on the console. And of course, a PC can run PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds at much higher settings and resolution than on console. So if people play on the console and are playing against people on PC, they're not gonna, generally they're not going to have as many frames available for them as opposed to people with a higher end PC as myself. I have a pretty good PC, and I get pretty decent frames in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds right now. Since a few updates went by, I'm getting average 90 frames per second, which is pretty damn good. But on console, I doubt that the console is going to be able to pump out 90 frames per second, especially let's say in higher density areas such as the cities, or when there are red zones going off. I was getting frame drops into the 30-40s, so I would probably imagine that they would get frame drops into the 20s or stuff like that. So it's going to be hard to actually balance all that out, because consoles are more than likely going to have more frame drops if the game, of course, if the game performance isn't up to par. But that's one thing aside. Now let's talk about aim assist on console. So aim assist is a thing on console because, of course, it is a lot harder to aim with an analog stick as opposed to a mouse and keyboard. So basically, how aim assist works is that when you're actually moving your analog sticks, let's say from left to right, and you actually go over a player with your crosshairs, the crosshair will slow down when you are actually going over the player, letting you know that there's a player there, and making it easier for you to actually be able to aim at the player because of the slowed down speed of the analog stick. Now, what this does is when you're aiming down sight in Playerunknown's Battlegrounds, let's say somebody is hiding in a bush, okay? And you're playing on console and that player's on PC, he's hiding in the bush because the circle is getting quite small and there's not a lot of cover. Now let's say that you don't actually see the player, but you're aiming down sight, sweeping through the map, and you notice that at the very instant you go over that bush, that the movement speed at which you are moving your crosshairs across the map slows down at the very instant that you go over that bush. Then you more than likely know that there's an enemy there, because it's gonna like kind of lock on to the enemy as you are sweeping over that bush. So then you would proceed to shoot there, even if you're not sure there's an enemy, but I mean, you saw the slowdown of the analog stick. Then you're going to shoot there and more than likely end up killing the player that was hiding in the bush. So that's a problem, because for me, I wouldn't want to play with people against aim assist. I mean, I'm a decent player, but let's say a mediocre PC player playing against a pretty good console player. The console player might have the advantage because of that aim assist that they have, as opposed to, let's say, somebody that's a little mediocre on PC and can't aim all that well and doesn't see the targets very fast. They're gonna have an issue actually killing those people because they have a fundamental issue on aiming. So they have a hard time aiming with the mouse and keyboard, and the console player will have that aim assist like going. So it's a big issue, and I think a lot of people disagree of having the cross-platform play, especially for that, because some console players are going to have a hell of a hard time playing against PC players. So there are some players on PC that are incredible with that mouse and keyboard, and they have incredible aim, and like it's a little bit both-sided. So on one side you're going to have the console players, which are very good on console, that are just going to shit completely on mediocre PC players, and you're going to have the very good PC players that are completely going to shit on the console players who are mediocre at the game or mediocre at FPS games in general. So it's quite a big issue to discuss, and I think generally a lot of people were saying, I read on forums about this and all that, saying that a lot of people would probably stop playing the game if if the only way to play was just queuing up, and you would more than likely get console players in your server. I mean, if they do introduce cross-platform play, it would be nice to have the option to choose to play only against PC players or to dip into that cross-platform play. I think that would be the most valuable and relevant thing to do for the game. And I think that would keep everybody happy, and just so that you have the actual option to choose if you want to play against console players, or if you just want to stick to playing against PC players only. So I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. Now, I don't want a Warzone down there. I just want your opinion, and I don't want you to start cussing me out or stuff like that. That's not why I made this video. I literally want to start a discussion. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. If you have any other feedback on aim assist, I would love to know, because I'm not a console player, so I don't really know how aim assist works all that much. Of course, I have read about it and I know what it is, but if you guys have anything to tell me about all this, this whole issue, or well, not issue, but this whole idea of cross-platform play, let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. Don't forget to hit that notify bell. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.